Welcome back, everyone, to Season 3 of Dead by Dawn. We have here once again an amazing match. Team Odyssey versus Sirenia. And I mean, we're starting off with one of my favorite sets, Artist. It's always like really fun to see. It really comes down to the survivors playing with each other and making sure you die in the right locations and playing that macro beautifully. And of course, we're starting the game off with a little bit of stealth, making sure we don't get found because we have an insane 4-gen on the bottom side of the map, so we're gonna have to try our best to break that as soon as we can. But Sirenia right now, beautifully finding a survivor on the truck and getting a really nice early tag with that. Luckily today, I don't have to cast this match alone. I get to be here with my beautiful little friend Will. Hello, Will.
Hey there, Cinta, how we doing, man? Oh my god, like, we don't even have time to intro anymore, man. Like,
Damn.
it's just from the get-go, an instant find of Renato there, a lovely bird denying him from the top side of the map into a nice little cheeky bird down in the mid side of the map as well, denying any rotations for survivors getting down to bottom. We do hear a little bit of progress on Shaq, but it's not really much to warrant Cyber AI worrying about his 4-gen popping. It's looking pretty comfortable for our killer here.
Yeah, oh my god. I mean, we briefly mentioned it, 4-gen, but this is not just any 4-gen. I mean, this is a crazy setup, especially the bottom right side. We got Shack, like, right next to Shack 5, and then another gen on 4, and that gen over at 7 is also not even far away. Like, this is gonna be impossible to break, especially with a start like this. We're giving out another free tag. Unhook does come out, but it comes out quite early, because we know there's no one else working bottom. Maybe Moon has decided to stay... Moon is here for the Unhooks. Maybe Otaku has stayed top to do another top generator, but the progress is very, very minimal right now. We're still at 5 generators remaining, and Feli's already on another chase. We're even using some birds mid-chase to target these generators because we do, of course, have one of Artist's favorite perk, Ruin, which is going to help us quite a lot at just passively regressing these generators. We're playing nicely off of this bird here. I wonder if maybe Moon has stayed around to help this chase, because otherwise it looks like we're just going to be going down again. And oh! Oh! Okay. It shouldn't matter. We reached the pallet at least, so like we're dying underneath it. This could result in a pallet save.
What have I seen, man? I don't know what to comment on. Obviously, Cyber are doing extremely well, getting their down within the gens. Unluckily, fell the tunnel out, not making it towards the top side of the map. But, you know, there's not really much you can do versus a zoning killer such as Artist here. Just using birds, pressuring the gens, getting the survivors off with that, you know, that ruin value, man. That ruin value is absolutely impeccable for a killer like Artist. You can't be staying on the gens, you give injures, and you can't be off the gens because you give regression with ruin. So that's something that we definitely want to be seeing the survivors cleanse if they've got any hope of popping this elite 4-gen bot side, because there's not much they can do without.
Yeah, I mean, this
Yeah.
is gonna be super difficult to break, but the survivors do get a very nicely timed unlock here. Actually reach at least the middle part of the map, which means we might be reaching top. We see it's a little bit of an unfortunate towel. We don't have any like strong pallet gym or jungle gym to work with here, but we at least reach all the way corner 1, which is gonna be very important, especially considering that hook we were hooked upon on 4 was the right next to the most progress generator, which is something you definitely cannot have, which I think the survivors are definitely going to try to prioritize at least popping that generator, so then the bottom issue is resolved to at least a free gen, but that's still going to be so hard to deal with, especially since I don't know how much longer Fel is going to be able to survive and chase here, and at that point, yeah, and we get mind gamed here. You pretty much have to send it at some point, because Artist is just like so strong on these pallets, especially if you're able to zone them edge map. Like you have to try to leave to a different loop. And wait, 7 is actually popping, and they're getting a heal off. I was just gonna say the survivors are going 2 injuries into the free one, which is always a little bit scary, but they actually managed to get one of those injuries away. And I believe the generator on 4 should still be relatively high progress, so they might be able to actually crank away at this bottom free gen as well soon. They might be in a little bit of a better position than I expected, actually, Will.
Yeah, obviously getting that gen down from whittling the 4-gen down to the 3-gen is obviously what you want to be seeing for the survivor side here. However, that does not really take away from the fact that this is still an insane 3-gen for our survivors here. You're not really going to be able to get much progress on this with the ruin up, and especially if chase is being taken towards the bot side of the map, this is a really difficult situation for our survivors to be in. Although we do see Moon using balanced landing, we also have a little bit of the artist extravaganza on Shaq, where you can't really dodge anything because you're zoned towards towards the edge map. Moon doing the best she could, but still, unfortunately, dies in the 3-gen, and this is looking back to being a more comfortable game for Cyber AI here. What are you thinking here, Cinta?
Well, what I'm thinking is this generator on 4 is completely zero, and I feel like I would be crying if I'm on the Survivor team because Ruin has just done so much work. I mean, that 150%, which we're now having to deal with on these killers that already ran Ruin, is just such an insanely strong perk now. I mean, this generator was, I think, literally 70, 80% maybe, and it got hit with one pain res, and it sat with Ruin for like a minute, and now it's completely dead. I mean, this is gonna be so painful. I mean, we have to do something. We obviously just have someone cranking a top generator, someone stealthing for the pull, but I think at this point, it's gonna be very difficult to try to get any outs, but we're at least gonna have to try to minimize the damages, which probably results in just popping those 2 top generators and then maybe trying your best to like get a full reset and tackling this bottom 3-gen, but it's gonna be so difficult.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially if you have someone injured as well. With Max being separated from top, from the bottom side of the map, sorry, I'm guessing our injured survivor is, yep, there we go, working Gen's top. I'm guessing that is Max because you'd be rather silly to try and play for the poor injured against an artist in the 3-gen as well. But like, this is just something I can't really stress enough, man. The dying spots here have been less than favorable for our survivors, and that early chase really kind of spelt doom for the early gem prog as well. Survivors managed to cross and managed to get towards bot, trying to work the 3-gen early, the 4-gen early even, obviously 3-gen now since it's popped. But after that, they were really left with nothing because of Ruin, as you brought up, as you aforementioned even. It's completely zeroed every gen, and that's an insane bird, but also an insane... I thought that was an insta-down. I thought that was an insta-down for you.
Oh, and we're forced to dodge the birds with the locker here, but yeah, this is just a little bit of a wrong decision, I think. We managed to pop the gen on top, and right afterwards Moon went into the second stage, but just after we hit second stage, Otaku sadly showed on 5, which means we can get to instantly start another chase with them, and that kind of forces out Max to leave the top side. I mean, they're forced to go for this pull, they're forced to rotate, and I mean, Cyber he could have gone for like a hook on Otaku, but honestly, it doesn't matter because all the gens are zero, as you said. Painres isn't... I think Painers wouldn't even hit anything at that point if you decided to hook Otaku, so instead we obviously just go back, we find Moon, they're not able to make anything strong on the top side, and we're just going to be going into the 2v1, which probably kind of solidifies this as a 4k2, which is a pretty insane result on Artist to match. I mean, that is going to be very rough to play for, and it's definitely showing why Team Odyssey decided to pick the Artist. I mean, it shows they're very comfortable here. Well, that was almost a really nice try by Cyber. Okay, that was
I
a
like
little
what I'm
less of
seeing,
a try, but
Oh, this has been a very exciting game to watch. I came into this, I wasn't, quite sure what to expect with an Odyssey game. An Odyssey artist game even. But he's definitely turned up. Cyber knows what he's doing. Obviously, we'd expect nothing less from an artist player. We do see Max sitting on Shaq Gen here. I think just hoping he's got the old brand new part and wishing to just pop. I think for the love of the game, just cranking out the generator for his very last moments. But that has kind of secured it. Center. I'm looking at
yeah,
4K2 artist here, man. That was
that is rough.
exceptional result for our killer.
Yeah, I mean, you can try your best to imagine Cyber as a T-Rex, but even if you just stand still on the gen, he is gonna see you, and we're not gonna be able to pop that. Even though, like, as unfortunate as it is, we're not giving out any freebies. And I mean, yeah, that's just a crazy result. I mean, it's definitely not impossible because you don't have the strongest stuff allowed against Artist. And like, if you catch the survivors off guard maybe once or twice, and then you get to play around a good fortune like Cyber AI had, then it's at least tieable. But trying to go for the win con, trying to 4K free survivors on Artist is just not really possible, I think. So I hope that Team Sirenia realizes that and is gonna go into this next match with the right mindset of, like, we have to hold this crazy 4-gen, and that's kind of all you can play for with artists. Like, right now, even though we still had one generator top, the game just went too fast, but in general, you shouldn't be able to get it down to a 3v1 and a 2v1 that quickly. I wonder what they have to cook though, Will. I don't what are you thinking here? What are your thoughts?
Well, man, I'm not gonna say anything because you know, Caster's curse is a bit of a devil for that. But I know for a fact that Sirenia are gonna be bringing that A game, and if not, well, it's looking like it's gonna be a pretty comfortable first set for Odyssey. So I think we should let the games do the talking, Cinta, and sign off and give the people what they want, and that's a short intermission with a lot more action yet to come. Hello everyone and welcome back to the second half of the artist set between Sirenia and Odyssey. We do actually have Sirenia on the killer now after seeing Odyssey 4K2 result, meaning that Sirenia are going to be looking for that coveted 4K3. Obviously it's a bit of a hard ask for our killer for Sirenia here, but obviously, you know, we're a league where we can see anything happen. So without further ado, I think it's best if I introduce my lovely co-caster Cinta here. And Cinta, tell us what we're seeing and what we're expecting to see, my man.
Well, right now we're seeing a whole lot of nothing with okay, never mind. Okay, we've seen 3 traces of survivors. We've seen 1 killer instinct, 1 tiny scratch mark over on Severin, and we hit 1 survivor with a bird here. But of course, they're going to be taking their distance as soon as possible. We don't want to give the killer a free chase this early in the game, so you want to make sure we're stealthing up as early as but we may have been stealthing it a little bit too hard because we're actually giving out a free hit here, even though we had balanced landing, I believe. But that is quite unfortunate because it means we start a very early chase with an early injury, which is exactly what we need. And we're already seeing a little bit of value of our 1 changed perk we're seeing. We're seeing Rapid Brutality instead of Ruin, which Sirenia had, which I think that's a very good trade-off. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Ruin gives you a little bit more map pressure, but Rapid slows down these chases, and fast chases is something we are definitely gonna need because, yeah, as you said, we need not a lot of generators popping, we need a lot of downs and a lot of dead survivors very soon. But Mitch doing a great job. We did Jungle Gym on 1. Kind of playing the 50s here because you don't have line of sight on the survivor, you don't know when they're double backing, but actually we're just shooting to send it to the Z-wall, which I think is a decent play. I mean, you don't have to play the 50s, it just means you're gonna delay it down a little bit longer. It means you're gonna be going down all the way in the corner of the map, which might make it a little bit harder to get that middle hook, which artists usually aiming to hope for. But instead now we get a nice pain res, which could probably hit that bottom mid gen, but and this is a little bit of an issue. We have a hook all the way on the 1, and our 4-gen is kind of located on the bottom, but it's not even that great of a 4-gen. It's a little bit of a loose one. It's definitely going to be hard to play for our killer player here.
Definitely, that 4K3, knowing you have to chase that as a killer, I'm guessing Otaku feels quite a bit of pressure here, not wanting to let his team down. Obviously, as we saw before, the 4K2 just done excellently by our Odyssey killer, so Sirenia only hoping to follow in the footsteps and get that 4K3. With the gen split, we are seeing a 4-gen bottom, obviously not as quite as tight as Cyber AI's. That was a very lenient gen split for him, but we are seeing a completely off side hook as well, with the hook being at 1 and all his gens being on bottom. So I feel like the person who popped towards 10 is going to be playing for the pull, and there's not really much Otaku can be doing in order to... There's no... Oh my god, there is no way they get that. Greedy, low ping demon Cyber AI manages to absolutely hornswoggle Otaku here. I don't even know what I'm saying, man. That's actually just caught me so off guard. And manages to make full 7 as a result of it as well. Although he's chasing in the 4-gen, they only really need to pop 3 gens in order to tie the result. So I feel like they're just going to be taking chase where they know they can last even just that little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, once we saw that generator on 11 pop, we kind of realized we're not where we want to be. We have to be more aggressive. We were playing a little bit, like patrolling around the bottom mid area, which could have been a really good play in the case that every single survivor was bottom, but we didn't really have any information on 2 of the different survivors. So yeah, sadly there was already 1 person top. They could go for the hook on Mitch whenever they wanted to, really, and we were forced to kind of commit to the bottom side of the map. But even now we're being taken away from it, and that is balance landing once again on Interview, this time calling out insanely clutch. Gonna be dodging the hit. We're doing a nice job juking away from this pallet. We don't gonna get zoned by the birds. We're just taking as much as we can, which make us last quite a bit longer. Actually, we make it back to the pallet with some great pathing, but placing that extra bird does delay the birds from despawning a little bit. I mean, we get the hit either way, but yeah, we saw a bottom generator pop up earlier already, so we don't have any great gen splits to go for, and the survivors are doing a great job just playing it slow. They're getting the resets whenever they can, and oh my god, we don't even have a pain res available. Oh, I'm gonna cry. Oh, Will.
Less than fortunate for Otaku here. Pain res really what he needed there. Obviously, we see the split happening with one survivor top. Yep, that's the survivor top. Caster's cursing it again. I'm gonna play into this a lot more, I think. But now we saw the stack happening on bot mid as well, meaning that we know where every survivor is, but there's not really much we can do with that information. Otaku's just gonna be taking a tag, not even forcing the trade. And we see Intimi going back to his beloved hills as he is using balanced landing yet again. Doesn't make the stagger, and the stagger actually kills him. So we do see another down on the top side of the map, but we don't really have the gens to be able to make the most out of these hooks here.
Yeah, and I mean, we do get the nice down, which I think was a pretty big part due to Rapid giving us a little bit of extra movement speed, allowing us to catch up before they get that balanced landing, but it doesn't matter too much because I'm pretty sure all the other remaining gens were 0%, so we couldn't even really go for a pain reds. And all of the survivors have already left. They're going for a reset. Oh, we don't get the hit on the souls. They managed to make that super unsafe pallet, but as I'm kind of looking around, I feel like there's a lot of good looping locations on this map right now. I'm pretty sure we have like 3 different jungle gyms, which are pretty strong tells against artists because they offer a lot of different unique types of pathing like we're seeing here right now. Zol's doing an amazing job on a unique way. Yeah, we're forced to leave the chase because this Shack gen could have some progress on pretty, which does look like it. And next to it is actually an injured survivor who could give a pretty quick pain res because people are not going to be balanced landing or anything. So we have to play this kind of unsafe pallet against artists instead.
I'm not sure I like the use of the bird going top there. Obviously, still granting the down, but I feel like without the movement slowdown from placing the bird there, I feel like Otaku could have just played for the M1 there, no? Especially knowing that the balanced landing is completely the opposite side of the map with obviously none of the same perk being used. We're not that lenient to our teams in the league here. But realistically, Otaku doesn't really have much to play for. Sure, he has a hook and an injure, but he doesn't have anywhere where he can really commit chases willy-nilly, really. We do see our Death Hook survivor going towards 11. Obviously, we do know that Intimi is our balanced landing, opting to go for the hill that they know and love. Oh my lord, man. This guy's gonna put the hills and Dead by Daylight into his will. Owes them everything that they've got. So we do see Chase going to top mid as well. One bird missed, a bit stagger there happening. Otaku just going to be committing, missing the bird actually, and Intimi does actually make the 4 lane here. Actually sends the vault and wins the 50. Otaku's forced to... Oh, okay. Hello. Yeah, that was insane. I did not expect the double vault there. Obviously, giving him back top mid as well. He's just going to be juicing for time here. Bottom gen. It wasn't even a bottom gen popping Sinter. It was main. Main had a lot more progress than I had given the survivor side credit for. And I feel like we're just going to be seeing split gates and leave, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I did not expect main to pop as well. And I mean, as soon as main popped, we kind of realized, hey, why are we chasing the Defuk Survivor? This is not where we want to be. We want to try to rack up as many stages as possible, which going for Souls would have been the best result, but we have no clue where they are, and probably even going to struggle to getting one more down here because we have 3 healthy survivors. They're all here, and the gate is right there. It's open, and we're going to be able to body block for it. We don't get our birds back in time because we used 3 of the birds, which we don't get to recharge before you can use them again. And yeah, I mean, that is just 4 survivors out of the gates. That's all I got to say. They're just gone.
Man, they were absolutely holding nothing back there. Otaku got a run for his money. Very unfortunately does not make the win con, but as we said before and prior, Odyssey kind of put stick to ass there in terms of saying a good win con. A 4K2 on Artist is absolutely really unimaginable to play for. If you're being completely honest, as a killer here, you're thinking, God, I need to 4K2 to tie, and I need a 4K3 to win. You're not going to be in the best mental headspace to be thinking about getting the best result there, especially if it's something that Odyssey have picked. So they're going to be very well versed in the killer side and the survivor side, which is something that we've definitely seen throughout the matchup. So, Cinta, do you have anything more to say, or do you think I should introduce the intermission and tell them what we are expecting next?
Yeah, no, I think you can just take it away. I mean, this is a match that went by quite quickly. It really showed how well versed Odyssey was here. So I think we're just gonna have to go into Sirenia's pick soon. Which what are we looking for? What are we gonna see next?
Well, unbeknownst to us, it isn't actually a Plague set, so we do know that Plague is very, very liked by Sirenia side, but we are actually, in fact, seeing an unknown on Wrecker's Yard. Obviously, something we've seen quite a lot throughout this third season, and especially as we've seen the rounds progress, obviously quite a liked pick. The harmless killer, some say, but we've seen some absolutely amazing results from killers here, so definitely stay tuned, and we'll be with you with Sirenia on the unknown set. Take care now. Okay, everybody, welcome back to the matchup between Odyssey and Sirenia. Obviously, we saw first set go to Odyssey with the 4K2 result on Artis, a very good result so far, and that is Odyssey's pick out the way. Now, going back to Sirenia and the matchup at hand, we do have Sirenia's pick of Unknown Wrecker's Yard. Before we actually take the first tag, I'm going to hand it off to you, Sinter, because I want to break the curse of having first tag before we hand over to the second caster. So, my man, take it away.
Oh, thank God, we've done it well. We've managed to get through an entire first part of the chase, and the survivor has just completely vanished. Is that Houdini on Team Odyssey? I think it might be. I mean, that is crazy start of the chase. It means all the survivors have had time to cross from the top side of the map if they so wish. We do see one survivor has started Shack, which is a little bit of progress. One survivor pathing a little bit towards 12. I wonder maybe someone's working that generator above us as well. We're seeing some crazy might games coming out there, which will result in an M1 if we decide to take it, which of course we will, because this killer's harmless. Why even play for M2? I think Otaku also kind of realizes that if we're looking at the build, we're running not only a chase trick, but also Noah on top of that, which is definitely going to be right to just play as safe as possible. It's kind of a playstyle where, ooh, that actually connects. That is a really good job, and we're actually choosing to. I was gonna say, if we choose to greet this and go Shack, that would be really interesting because we don't have any tags yet, so it would be a little bit risky, especially considering we knew this generator on 1 had some progress, and getting the hook right on top of that's gonna be very, very useful, especially since Painters doesn't even hit this. This might have hit generator that's being stacked or something, or maybe the chargers have a bunch of progress. So we're just gonna have to see how much progress they really have on different generators.
Well, we did see quite a lot of progress there on 11, so I'm not quite sure about the time of rotation from the survivor working out, or whether it was stacked from the start and we had the split. But we do see Julia on hook now. Obviously, quite a lot of progress around the board for survivors. We have Shack high progress. I've just had a little flick around, and we do see 7 high progress as well, which is going to be popping anytime soon. Come on. There we go. There we go. So 7 pops as well. Survivors really having a efficient game here. For 1 hook, we have gens at around 70%, and 2 of them, in fact. Not even just 1, 2 of them. Otaku's first chase wasn't even long either. It was not a long chase whatsoever, especially for the likes of Unknown. I have definitely seen chases last a lot longer. And this hallucination is actually going to completely take Julia away from 9 side of the map. Otaku gets an unfortunate bounce, and she actually does make the tile. So this is going to be something to look out for. Obviously, we want to commit for the tunnel out, but in this situation, I'm not sure if... Oh! Oh my god, 50 Demon swinging through the pallet, doesn't drop it and manages to escape the hit as well. Low ping demons, man. This is what I'm saying. I feel like you can't discount them out the game, and we are seeing a bit of dying under the pallet, and we saw the Ada previously, and I'm wondering if she's going to still be around playing for that pallet save here.
Yeah, I mean, what we're talking about here, this is the gen efficiency you need. Even though we were hooked on, like, we were hooked on the tile on 10, and the progress generators were 11 and Shack, which means we were kind of able to patrol both of them. And I feel like even though Otaku tried his best to stay in between those gens, it doesn't really matter. It's still showing. Odyssey, they have a lot of gen focus. Like, they're quite efficient, and even though Zeus is going onto the second stage, we have at least his generator on 11 is still 50%, and of course, a survivor that level 7 that's probably started another generator somewhere on the right side of the map, which is kind of still our free gen, but I don't assume we're going to be playing for any free gens. I think we're going to have to try to play for a result where we maximize our amount of stages, which might require us to commit a little bit further away from the hook, because I'm not entirely sure if the survivors are too interested in pulling this, at least anytime soon. It does seem like we are just splitting away at far generators and have someone stealthing here to pull souls at the last possible second. then maybe they can take that chase to Shack and it'll last as long as possible. And yeah, the pull comes out completely for free. FTP as well. I forgot that was actually even allowed, but that is going to be quite big. It's definitely going to secure the fact that playing for the tunnel out is not the correct play here, and Otaku immediately realizes that he's swapping to the FTP survivor. He's going to try to get a fast down. We win the 50 there. That actually hits as well, even though Intimi tried to dodge away from it. The M2 was still nicely placed, and we get that down. There's also going to be another pain res.
Yeah, it's ramping up a bit here, man. At the beginning, I wasn't quite sure what to be saying, but now there's everything to talk about. We have survivors with their impeccable gen split and their gem pressure. Obviously, Otaku realizes he can't play for the tunnel out anymore, as previously said, and we also have gens that he can't even play for either, really. We see 11, 2, and deep 3. I believe we have something around 5, but no, it's 9. I'm completely lying to everyone here. So we have a 2-2 gen split, and survivors aren't going to be letting Otaku be playing for a long game here. They're just going to be ramping up on the gens and letting Intimi sit on the hook for as long as possible, and maybe even letting him go second if it means that they get to pop 2 gens for the hook here. I would not be surprised at all if we do see Intimi maybe even dying on hook, especially, but we do see Zul's actually coming in and coming for the pull. Or is this... Oh, this was a rotation from 2. I do believe that Mitch was previously playing, and we do see it. And oh, I don't even know what to be saying, man. I'm lagging. I'm not caught up, man. I'm on ping. This is crazy. We are cut off from the gen here. Obviously, 2 has quite a bit of progress, and Mitch not opting to play the pallet, which I'm quite surprised about, and instead just giving a tag to go towards 11. If this even connects, okay, it does. Our ping is not that low. We are not bunk betting with the server. I'm glad to let everyone know.
And this was oh my god, I was just to talk about like the game state, but already instantly losing another 50. Mitch gonna be going down to the ground instantly, which I mean it really just shows these pallets are not that safe. I think this is also like a pallet that got slightly changed, so I'm not even really sure how to play that pallet at this point. It's a little bit of a weird one, but yeah, we did see Souls, who was our Deathwood survivor, playing for this pull as well a little bit earlier before we decided to another survivor, but it does indicate that 9 is going to have a little bit of progress, but doesn't even have... That's a decent bit of progress. I'm not sure if we're really able to leave that, but it looks like Otaku's not interested. Gonna try to look maybe for Cyber AI, who we did see on the right side of the map earlier. Because yeah, if we could commit him, that could maybe result in our last pain res, which is shaping up to be actually a pretty decent result. I mean, collected all the fresh hooks. Now, the only one we still need is Cyber AI, and it's in a little bit of a precarious situation here. I mean, this is a dangerous pallet to be stuck on, especially considering, oh, we're dodging the M2. Usually, you have to always try to dodge the M2 because taking the M1 is so much better against Unknown, but that's kind of a bait here by Otaku because the Noah pops and we're just instantly going down through that M1. That's very unfortunate. Cyber going for the technically correct play happens to not be correct in this part because we didn't decide to 99 negates, but holy crap, 7's already open. I feel like that's gotta be wake up or something. I mean, they were instantly on that gate as soon as the last gen popped, but this is scary. Survivor is going for the trade. We do get it just in time, and Zul's is in fact Deathhook. I was gonna say, if we don't get that trade, that's just gonna be an extra stage because we can camp the hook and the Survivor right next to the ground, and since we're so far away, what just happened? We're looking at the sky, hello? Game? Okay, sure. Apparently you can't dodge flashlights or flashbangs anymore. But I mean, I think either way, Cyber AI was gonna be out, and we're forced to just take this hook, which is quite unfortunate. Even with Noed, we weren't able to secure that many extra stages. I'm not sure how to feel about that.
Yeah, obviously Cyber would have been living a lot longer without the Noed proc, and that insta-down does give him that last fresh. So we are seeing a 4 fresh with 6 stage, which is honestly not a bad result. But Otaku didn't really play for gens off the rip, which kind of let him get almost, exploited in terms of the fact where his gens were just being worked everywhere, left, right, and center, and his chases weren't short enough to kind of counteract the fact that the gen split from the survivor side was impeccable.
Yeah, I mean exactly what you said, and I think like the missing pressure also came partly from letting those unhooks come out for free at some points, and then just not getting any tags in the meantime. So yeah, overall survivors did a great job. But this is, as you said, definitely a result that's playable for, especially if you know you have a win con like this against Unknown. You need to change up that gameplay a little bit. You guys are playing for some pallet saves or some even some flashlight saves. Dare I say it? It's like I know that word sparks fear into the hearts of all comp players, but you know you're technically able to play for flashlight saves anytime you want, which some people forget about, but it's always possible. And I mean, it definitely might help if you're playing for a 5 stage result, which is exactly what Sirenia are gonna have to play for up next. Which I'm excited to see. Will, do you have anything else to say?
Not really, man. We've covered it all. We've got the stages, we got the freshers, the full freshers as well, which is definitely not something to scoff at. So I think, man, you take it away and you say what's happening next.
Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna go into another small intermission. As always, we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible with Sirenia on the killer. So be right back. Everyone to the second unknown trial. We have this time Odyssey on killer. I misspoke earlier when we get into the transition, but we have once again Cyber AI playing killer for his team. We're seeing a small shakeup on the build. We're seeing one different add-on, which I believe that is the add-on that gives you faster vault and break speed after TPing, and we're seeing Eruption instead of Nowed, so maybe we're a little bit more confident in our early game, which, you know, Eruption, it can be very good, especially when playing for free gens, which, well, as I'm looking around the map, I'm not really seeing any great free gens, so that's a little bit unfortunate, but it always still helps. It's more aggression, it's a great perk, and especially when we get such an early, I was gonna say early tag, but it's gonna be the early down. We're back to the curse. We don't even have like a down or a tag before you can talk about an entire down. I'm so sorry. I've yapped for too long.
Man, and do not even worry about it. You know, the people see what they want to see, and an early down is obviously what Cyber is going to be wanting. You know, got to be playing for those 7 stages with the 4 freshers as well. So, you know, he's definitely going to be wanting to get those hook stages up, especially if survivors are very vigilant on gens. We do see a little bit of progress on Shaq. I'm wondering whereabouts the survivors have actually pulled the most. Obviously, Cyber spawning on 3, so I'm guessing that they've kind of rotated towards the right side, and that's where we're going to be seeing the most pressure, in fact. Well, we do have Max on the tunnel out, and because Cyber got the down so much quicker than Otaku previously, we are going to be seeing the tunnel out coming in before a Gen even pops here, and Max has to dodge this UVX to even last that little bit longer, which he does, but he's still only able to play a TL. He does not have the distance to play anything else. And I'm lying to everyone. I'm not lying, I knew exactly what I was talking about. And Cyber AI gets the down, deep 3 as well, which is definitely a very nice hook for Cyber AI here, as we do have Shaq 1 and 3 to play for. What are you thinking, Sinter?
Yeah, I think that's a little bit unfortunate. I'm not entirely sure if I agree with pulling so quickly. Like, maybe if you try to go for an FTP play, that could work out a little better, but yeah, Max doesn't really have too much to do, because if you remember, the crane was already dropped on a Shack. It wasn't dropped, but that's the generator they were doing. So like, where is Max really supposed to go? You're kind of just pulling him this early and leaving him up to his own fate, which is not really the best course of action. And for that reason, Sirenia this time they're pulling him very early again, but at least they are giving them FTP, which should help in some extra safety. But we're just running away. We're showing our location. I think we might be able to stealth a little bit there, maybe waste some time from the killer. If we were able to completely hide, that would have been amazing, of course, but now we're just starting to chase instantly, and we're not even breaking this pallet. We have Brutal, but instead we're going to try to play it a little bit. When the M2 fills, we can, of course, just rely back on Brutal and break whenever we can. We hear some footsteps to my right, I think, which might indicate that I was trying to hit tank before Max is even injured, which is a decent play, because denying this tunnel out is really all that's important right now. Some generators are popping, we have some good progress, but when Max dies, it won't really matter, because we cannot play that 3v1 against Unknown when we can only give a couple more stages, but Max will be going down. We're not able to get any of the spells, and M1 mind game comes through. That is very unfortunate. We're going into the 3v1 with not only 2 injuries, but our last survivor is actually still infected with the UVX, which might come out to play here. I'm not entirely sure. We might be able to dispel it just in time. Yeah, we do dispel it. So no funny 2 taps on the spell coming out, but still, we're just going to commit this chase. We're not going to try to find any injured survivors. That just gonna see how well we can do shooting it underneath the pallet. Very nice shot by Sirenia.
Man, he put that under the pallet just like pre-nerf Chucky. I was not expecting that to actually hit. Obviously unknown, known for the wacky collisions and wacky bounces on objects. So I was thinking that was going to fly somewhere off to Timbuktu or Zimbabwe even. So the fact that that managed to hit as well and kind of keep him towards the left side of the map as well, which is incredibly useful for Cyber. Doesn't want to give him that full map distance. So we are seeing him playing the 4 lane and running into him, giving him that 5-star Amazon Prime delivery on the down there, meaning that Cyber AI is now able to hook on a pain res as well. Pain res being top mid or 12 here. We don't really see too much pressure from our survivors here as I'm cycling around in the spectator slots. Obviously, in terms of the compliments and the best bits about being a caster is I can freely look around and I'm not seeing too much pressure from our survivors here. And survivors here really need to not be pulling as quick, and they need to be getting that gem pressure and that gem progress that they need in terms of actually popping gens and getting outs in this situation.
I mean, I was gonna say we did have we did pop one generator a little bit before we got hooked, I think, but I mean, yeah, now we're just in that scenario where we're in a 3v1, everyone's injured, and that's such a difficult place to get out of. You really have to try your best to, like, take a breather. You have to try to get that reset, and even though it's kind of dangerous, because if the killer ever finds a reset while you're in these 3v1 scenarios, it's kind of over, but you have to just send it at some point, because having everyone injured, especially against a killer who, even though he's kind of harmless and chase sometimes will play well, but that is going to connect very nicely. Then that is going to be actually our last pain res as well, but yeah. I was just saying, even though the killer isn't that strong in chase, the fact that he can just get some teleports around the map means he has a lot more influence and a lot more map pressure than some other killers, which means just giving these hooks and like getting found in the generators, it's really not a game plan you can go for, and that's why once we saw one reset coming through, and we're going to be seeing the second reset coming through as well, so they're listening to me. Hey, you're not allowed to listen to the casters, guys. Get away from the stream, but we do find the reset goal, so that is going to be quite difficult. It means it's going to be hard to split up and get someone for the rotation on that pole. And we need someone on a generator as well in the meantime, because we're still 2 generators off, which is not where we want to be.
Definitely not very tricky for Survivor here. It's not looking too possible, but you know, it's Dead by Day. Like, the impossible is possible, and the possible is sometimes impossible as well. I know what I just said doesn't make entirely too much sense, but we have seen some absolutely amazing plays come in to get survivors and killers alike out of some really tough situations, especially in this season. We do see Moon getting hit through pallet on like the 8 tile here and going down towards bottom. Now, something we haven't taken into note here is Cyber AI has actually matched the WinCon. Match the Tycon even, sorry. Absolutely yapping myself here and probably driving everyone insane. So we are matched with the Tycon here, so all we have to do is get one more hook when survivors are looking absolutely toast. Moon doing a great job of delaying that down. Survivors able to work gens instead of reset, because they really need to be having that gen pressure here. Obviously in the ideal situation you have time to reset and time to go into the 3v1 with full healthy, but in this situation we're not really looking as if that's too possible for Survivor side here.
As Moon is doing a good job with Jason, we actually see survivors have managed to get a ton of gen power, so if we're able to last a little bit longer here, and I mean, even if we don't have any pain reses available or anything, I mean, yeah, we're gonna win this 50. The unknown is a little bit too slow. I feel like ever since they nerfed his one add-on that massively increases or decreases the downtime after TPing, his TP just isn't that good in chase, especially on these slightly shorter pallets while they're still undropped. It's just a little bit too risky, and I mean, we are gonna get this down, which will solidify probably that win con, but survivors have done such a good job here coming back, and I mean, they did exactly what I said they should do. They took a breather, they got the reset, they played it safe, and then they started smashing those gens. And then of course they had a great chase while Moon, they're wasting some time. And that might result in 8 stages, but might even be trying to get Moon off of this hook, but I feel like that is quite risky, especially considering Otaku hasn't been healed yet, and Fel is still infected, and we see Fel here, which is the only other remaining survivor, is injured, but they are just going to be taking that result. That is 8 stages, and definitely not something to be ashamed of, but sadly, Odyssey is still going to take that win, though.
Yeah, man, that's a very exemplary sets played by Odyssey here. Knew what they were doing in both games. Obviously, Sirenia did absolutely amazingly with the Survivor results in terms of an 8 stages. Definitely nothing to scoff at. With Unknown, it can really go either way. We have seen 4Ks in the past, and we've seen some very low stages. So definitely a good result from both killers and both teams as a whole here.
Yeah, I mean, I think without further ado, we're just going to be ending it off for now, but don't be worried because in roughly 48 minutes, exactly, not roughly, but exactly 48 minutes, we're going to be back with another matchup. We have Behelit versus Unholy, two of the great teams here, and we are seeing some interesting sets. So I don't know if you've scouted ahead, but we're playing some interesting killers with Pig, Springtrap, and the Bubba, which that is going to be exciting for sure. Some jiggy killers, some funny sets, some stuff I haven't really seen much of before. So I don't know about you. What are you thinking about that?
Well, I mean, I gotta have a positive outlook on that, since I don't know if you know, but I am actually casting that match in around 40 minutes as well. So I'm gonna sort myself out with some lovely food, get my belly all nice and warm, and get ready to give you back another great casting, hopefully. So, as much as I can say, if I know much about the sets, well, I you kind of hope so, wouldn't you? If I'm gonna be casting them. So
There,
definitely stay tuned and look out for that notification in the Discord server saying that we're live, and that's going to be happening in around roughly 40 minutes. So definitely wait for that, man. Like it's good teams versus good teams here, man. Back to back games. Well, as back to back as you can get, obviously, due to the nature of preparing for 3 sets and then having 2 sets play out. We are a bit ahead of time, but that still doesn't mean that you should not be looking and should not be excited for Bayonet versus Unholy later to come.